Morning, it's Sofia here, and this is your morning briefing for Friday, September 19th. I have a lot to talk about today. The possibilities of the Fed cutting rates in the near future, the late night TV drama that's actually about billions in media deals, the new defense pact in South Asia, Nvidia dropping cash in the UK, and of course, today is Apple's big release day, and I'll go by one. So we were speaking yesterday, the Fed cut rates by 25 basis points, bringing the range from 4 to 4.25%. Now, if you look at the Fed's dot plot, which is basically their forecast for where rates will go next, it shows 2 more cuts likely this year. Why is this important? It's important because rate cuts are supposed to make borrowing cheaper, encourage growth, and usually give stocks some momentum. But investors are split currently. Small caps got a bounce, like the Russell 2000 hit its highest since 2021 yesterday, but indices pulled back a little. So markets are kind of asking, is this the start of a real easing cycle, or is it just like a cautious move? We'll have to see. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you are well aware that Jimmy Kimmel got a suspension on his late night TV show. I will break down what's actually happening and why this might be all about a merger worth billions of dollars. Now, I'll start with September 17th. Nexter Media Group, they own 32 ABC stations across the United States. That's like 14% of ABC's reach. Now, they pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air after his monologue about MAGA right after Charlie Kirk's assassination. In other words, Nexter controls a huge chunk of ABC. ABC had no choice but to suspend the show across the board. And here's where the story gets interesting, because Nexter is trying to close a $6.2 billion deal to buy a competitor named Tenya, which would make them the biggest broadcaster in the country. That deal only goes through if the FCC approves. And guess who was already criticizing Kimmel the same day? FCC Chair Brendan Carr. He hinted stations could get punished for airing him. Now, Nexter's move lined up pretty perfectly with Carr's stance. So yeah, this looks like less like politics or comedy and just like clearing the runway for a mega merger worth of billions. We'll have to see what happens, but we should be really attentive to what might happen with Nexter Group. Now I'll switch gears to geopolitics. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan just signed a mutual defense pact, meaning if one's attacked, the other one responds. It was signed by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz. This is something that's going to be super tense for the entire region, I believe. Now, I'll talk about Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. This deal is part of a bigger £2 billion plan that Nvidia has set aside for the UK startups. So if Nvidia is positioning itself not just as the chip supplier, but also as the money behind the next AI wave, it's telling a lot. And how Nvidia actually even cares about the UK. And for last but not least, it's Apple Friday. The iPhone 17 Pro, Pro Max, and the new thin iPhone Air are officially out today, plus the new Apple Watch and AirPods. This is so interesting because I personally want to go and see them myself before I even try to get one of them. Early sales across Asia are already super hot. Pro models are waitlisted up to 4 weeks. Listen, 4 weeks in some countries. Now, the Pro line is pulling the most demand, partly because of the performance upgrades in the new design. So if you've been waiting to upgrade your new phone to a new phone, Apple's about to test you and see how much the market demand is for this 2025. So that is your morning briefing for this Friday, September 19th. I mean, we're talking about what the possibilities of more rate cuts or the possibility of a M&A due to Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled, and we'll have to be really attentive to what's happening this weekend. Thanks for starting your morning with me. I'm Sofia, and I'll be back next week with more headlines.